and welcome to Business 360. I'm Vaishnaw. Here are the headlines we're tracking this hour. Stocks snap a 6-day losing streak. Sensex gains over 635 points. Nifty moves back above 19,000. Both indices are down over 2% this week, the biggest weekly loss in 8 months. Maruti Suzuki reports a strong second quarter with 24% revenue growth. Lower raw material costs and expenses drive margins to nearly 13% and profits are higher by over 80%. Cipla beats Street in the second quarter. Margins come in at a multi-quarter high. Dr. Reddy's posts strong earnings, posts a beat on all parameters. The Ambani Next Gen gets a near unanimous nod to join the Reliance board. The company will announce its second quarter numbers today. It is expected to show steady performance in digital and retail businesses, while the oil to chemicals business could see strong refining margins being offset by weak petrochemical spreads. Amazon's third quarter earnings exceed expectations. Revenue jumps 13% amid signs of acceleration post a difficult 2022. Profits jumped threefold on a yearly basis to $9.9 billion. CEO Andy Jassy says that Amazon's belt-tightening efforts continue to bear fruit. Israel raids Gaza with ground troops once again. Hamas says no hostages will be released before a ceasefire. Meanwhile, U.S. conducts airstrikes in Syria, targeting Iran-backed militia. United Nations says humanitarian aid is barely trickling into Gaza. The Indian government calls the death penalty to 8 Indian Navy veterans by Qatar deeply shocking, says it's exploring all legal options. The 8 Indians who were working with a Qatar-based private company were reportedly arrested in August 2022 on charges of spying. The Qatar government is yet to make the charges public. Prime Minister Modi kicks off the India Mobile Congress. Akash Ambani showcases Reliance Jio's satellite-based Giga Fiber service. Sunil Mittal says Airtel will provide pan-India 5G coverage by March next year. Kumar Birla promises significant investments into Vodafone Idea. All right, let's start with the market action. A rebound on Friday after some sharp cuts earlier this week. Sensex gained over 600 points. Nifty goes back above the 19,000 mark. Mid-caps and small caps saw a sharper rebound. But for the week, Sensex and Nifty are down 2%, making it the biggest weekly loss in 8 months. Mid-cap index is down 3% this week. Prashant Nair is here with the market wrap.
Well, finally a bounce, and a solid bounce at that, at the fag end of this week, last session of the week. The Nifty, which was looking oversold, and we'd been saying this from the time that we came in the morning, on all technical and F&O indicators, things were looking overdone. We got a bounce. 1% of the Nifty, 1% of the Bank Nifty. The mid-cap index did a little more than 1%, and the small-cap index did over 2%. So, I mean, you know, this is looking good. We got a positive, solid daily close, and now, of course, we got to build on it. In any case, let me just outline what happened. So, the big gains on the Nifty came through in HCL Tech, Axis Bank, Coal India. SBI, Adani Enterprises and NTPC were some of the others which did quite well. Market breadth was almost 5:1. So, you know, it was heavily favoring what went up. And that's understandable because these stocks had been sold off between 10 and 15, 20% over the last 6 sessions of relentless selling. In the broader market, big gains coming through in Shriram Finance, Swan Energy, found its place there. Mazgaon Dock, Indian Overseas Bank, Adani Power. There was Wellspun Industries, which did well. Bank of India, Indocount, Venus Pipes, Jubilant Pharma, NLC India, Voltamp were some of the other names there. Losses in names like Sterlite Tech. There was Prestige and there was Westlife, which sold off pretty heavily as well. As I said, we got a start. We got a positive, solid close. We need to build on it when we come back next week on Monday. U.S. markets, of course, will provide us that first cue, which we will refer to at 9 on Monday. Back to you.
Right. Thank you, Prashant, for those updates. Maruti Suzuki share rallied on the back of a strong second quarter. The automaker reported its highest ever quarterly sale volume. Revenue was up 24% and profit was up 80%. Sonia Shenoy is here with the numbers. Sonia, what were the key drivers for Maruti in Q2?
Oh, absolutely. Thanks a lot for that. It was indeed a very good set of numbers that Maruti reported. The operational performance was much better than what the street was estimating, and the margins for Maruti came in at a multi-quarter high. Now, let me take you through the numbers. If you look at the margins, right, it was a 360 basis points year-on-year jump in margins, coming in at 12.9%. The company put out a release where they said that a couple of things impacted their margins positively. One was improved realizations because of the price hikes that they undertook. The second was softening of commodity prices. The third was cost reduction that aided their earnings this time around. As you rightly pointed out, this is the highest ever quarterly sales volumes, net sales and net profit that Maruti has posted. However, let's not forget that the stock has seen a big up move as well. The stock is up almost 25% in 2023. And the main reason why Maruti has been giving better margins compared to preceding quarters is also because now the share of SUVs in their portfolio has gone up substantially, and SUVs is a high margin business. The focus on SUVs is something which has helped Maruti catapult from a 9 to 10% margin band all the way to 10 to about 12% and now 12% plus. So the important bit to hear out from the management is whether they can hold on to these 12-13% margins, given that SUVs is a large chunk of their portfolio. All eyes, of course, will be on management commentary, but for now, the numbers have been very strong, much better than what the street was estimating. Back to you.
Right. Thank you, Sonia, for those numbers. Bajaj Finserv reported a strong quarter. Consolidated net profit grew 24%, while revenue rose more than 25% on a yearly basis. The company's general insurance business gross written premium grew by 52%. The life insurance business reported a robust performance as well, with written premiums rising 28%. In pharma earnings, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories posted a strong second quarter, beating estimates across all parameters. The company's net profit rose 33%, while revenue grew nearly 10% on an annual basis. Staying with pharma, Cipla reported a strong set of numbers in the second quarter, beating street estimates across all parameters. The company's operational performance stood out, with margins hitting multi-quarter highs. The company's U.S. business reported its highest quarterly revenue, while its India business witnessed a double-digit growth. Ekta Batra questioned the management on reports of a promoter stake sale. Here's what he had to say.
A lot of news reports with regards to the possible deal from the Cipla promoters' end. We do understand that there could be some amount of standstill which could have been reached on account of valuations with regards to the Cipla stake sale. If you could comment on it.
So, Ekta, as the company is very different than and has, is hearing about these with the same frequency that the general public hears about it. There's, the promoters are one entity, the company is the other. It's very. We have not heard anything either way in terms of. In terms of the transaction as yet. And, we've been saying that this is speculative from the beginning.
Shares of Reliance surged in trade today ahead of its earnings. A CNBC-TV18 poll expects the company to report 12% growth in net profit, while revenue is expected to rise in the high single digits. The oil-to-chemicals business is likely to see strong refining margins being offset by weak petrochemical spreads. And speaking of Reliance, the Ambani Next Gen has received near unanimous nod to join the Reliance board as non-executive directors. Isha Ambani and Akash Ambani received more than 98% of the votes for her board induction. Anand Ambani got nearly 93% of the votes. Standard disclaimer, Network 18 and TV18 are companies that operate CNBC-TV18. Both are controlled by independent media trust, of which Reliance Industries is the sole beneficiary. Prime Minister Narendra Modi kicked off the India Mobile Congress at the Bharat Mandapam complex in Delhi today. The three-day event will see India's top telecom, media and technology players showcase their offerings. Ashmit Kumar gets us more.
I come to you from the India Mobile Congress, the 7th edition to be specific. The one key message that is being sought to be sent out is that far from being a seeker of technology, a technology consumer, India is trying to position itself as a technology provider. That's the big message that came out of the inaugural session, coming in from government leaders, from the Prime Minister himself, as well as from industry leaders. Let's take a look at some of the big newsmakers of the day.
मोबाइल और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में अपनी सफलता को और आगे बढ़ाएं कि हम भारत में स्ट्रॉन्ग सेमीकंडक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर का निर्माण करें.
Look back 10 years back, telecom sector was mired with controversies, legal battles, scams, all kind of stuff. Because that time the government which was in place, that government had a very different mindset. That was a government which was focused not on the country's benefit, but on making sure that their own pockets are lined up. In 2014, the change happened. Since then, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, he has put huge focus on transforming the telecom sector. The entire legacy of litigations, the legacy of all kinds of non-transparent ways of working, those have been wiped away. And today, telecom sector is totally transformed. As you have seen, 4G and 5G, the rollout of 4G and 5G has been absolutely transparent. It has been life-changing. It has made a huge difference in people's lives. And today, India is emerged as one of the major technology developer, manufacturer, exporter of telecom technology, not just the importer.
You mentioned how India has transitioned. In this transition, you also mentioned about how India needs to take the lead as far as 6G is concerned in terms of standard setting. The Prime Minister had alluded to how the ITU may be doing an event with the IMC as well. Give us a sense of the role that India can play in terms of standard setting, in terms of taking the lead for 6G.
6G is right now in the process of development. It will take about 4 to 5 years before the first 6G products are actually launched commercially. So this is the right time for us as a country to make sure that we start working on 6G, because if we start now, then we can take the lead in the entire technology space. And we want to take lead in developing technology, in creating our own IPR, in using our IPR, Indian IPR, to be used all across the world. That's where the crux of the Prime Minister's focus is. That's why just a few months back, Prime Minister had launched the Bharat 6G vision. As a consequence of that 6G vision, two major things have happened. First, Bharat 6G Alliance has been created, in which the academia, the research units, the industry and the government, all of us have combined to create one single force which can then coordinate all the 6G development. Second, ITU has accepted and adopted the fundamental principles on the basis of which Bharat 6G vision was framed. So these are two very big achievements. I think we have already got 200 plus patents in 6G technologies. We have broken down the entire thing into about 5 or 6 major buckets. One is the whole antenna bucket. What kind of antenna technologies will be there? Second will be the beam formation and the waveform bucket. How do you modulate the entire system so that you get the best possible form? Third, how do you work on different, totally new frequencies, terahertz, optical frequencies? How do you work in those frequencies? Then you come to the equipment, then you come to the consumer. So it's a very well thought through process through which we are going.
One more question in terms of the inaugural session. I'm talking about the takeaways from there. We've seen Jio, phenomenal pace of rollout for 5G. Mr. Sunil Bharti Mittal also confirmed today, March 2024, Bharti will also complete its rollout. Mr. Birla as well said a lot of work is being done on the core networks. We'll see deployment very soon. Does that give you confidence that even the third player, the third private player, is coming on board and giving the assurance in terms of a 5G rollout?
So I'm very happy that Mr. Birla announced it today, that they will be starting 5G installations very soon. So that's a very good achievement and very good progress.
One final question, sir. Mobile manufacturing has been key aspect. We've seen significant growth. The numbers, the graphs are very dramatic. What is the next step from here? Do we look at mobile components? Do we look at widening the portfolio of manufacturing being done here? What is the next step from a policy standpoint from your perspective?
In fact, today, mobile manufacturing has reached a level where many of the components and subsystems will now be manufactured in India. Already many have started, many more will start, because you need a basic mass, basic volume before which component ecosystem can develop. And that volume we have reached today. Today, mobile manufacturing is about $44 billion industry, $11 billion exports. So just a couple of days before, the manufacturers of glass, they visited and they said that they will start manufacturing the Gorilla Glass very soon in India. The lens module, they have started, the people who manufacture lens modules, the camera module, they have also started making their plans for manufacturing in India. The entire PCB and the substrate within the system, that also is going to be manufactured in India. The mechanical casing, practically every major part of mobile, every major component of mobile, India will become a major hub of manufacturing.
Thank you so much for your time once again, sir, and we wish you the very best for not just this, but the next edition of the IMC Tour, something bigger and better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you, Ashmit, for that conversation with the Telecom Minister. On that note, it's time for a short break. News and updates continue when we return. Welcome back. Debt-ridden JP Associates and its lenders have informed courts today that they are in talks for a loan recast settlement. Ritu Singh is here with more.
Well, after years of a stalemate in the debt resolution of Jaiprakash Associates, a recent NCLT order shows that the counsels of both ICICI Bank, which is the lead lender in the case, and JP Associates have asked NCLT to defer the IBC hearings until the end of November because both parties indicated that they're currently in talks for a loan restructuring proposal, the contours of which are being formalized and will be under consideration by the lenders. Now, we spoke to our sources within the banking industry and we've been given to understand that lenders have been in talks with the National Asset Reconstruction Company or NARCL for the resolution of the debt by selling the loan account to NARCL and in turn receiving some security receipts and some promise of recovery as well. However, the final offer from NARCL is yet to be given to banks, so it's unclear how much recovery they're really looking at. The loan restructuring talks have been on and off between the lenders and JP Associates for several years now, but no real headway has been made on that front as far as our banking sources have indicated. Now remember, this is a 5-year delay in resolution we're talking about. JP Associates was referred to the NCLT by ICICI Bank in 2018 and since then no real progress has been made. It has a debt of almost 29,000 crores with SBI, ICICI Bank and IDBI as some of the key lenders.
Thank you, Ritu, for those updates. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC-TV18.